I want to come back to the shoes.
Yes.
And we've talked about functional shoes, and that continuum goes all the way to the minimalistic. Somebody brand new to these kind of shoes, let's walk them through going to buy their first pair.
Yeah.
Is this something they can go to a regular shoe store and get? And then the specifics, what are the things that are non-negotiable they want to look for their first pair?
Most running shoe stores, like a specialty store, will carry functional footwear. Okay. There's unfortunately not that many brands out there. The three that come to my mind are Ultra Running, Topo Athletic, and Notice. So those are the ones we talk about in the book. These brands have my non-negotiable, which is a wide toe box. That is if you are new to this conversation, that is the easiest thing to implement because there is no break-in. It's just put your foot in this shoe. The one thing people will say with the wide toe box is it kind of feels loose. It feels sloppy. And I say to them, yes, because your foot is not filling up the shoe. You don't have good toe splay. That's when we'll implement things like toe spacers, which I love, because you can wear a toe spacer in these shoes to fill up the space. It will give you that toe splay. So the wide toe box is non-negotiable, and all three of those brands have it. The next would be the heel to toe drop. Those brands, all of those brands sit below 6 millimeters. So they will have a 4 millimeter heel to toe drop. Topo will have a 5 millimeter heel to toe drop. And for someone who has restricted ankle mobility, or they have a history of heel pain or Achilles pain, I'll say, let's get you in something a little lower than what you are in, so that all of those are fine. And we're going to work on some of those things. The hardest, so that's where I would start if you were new to this, is the wide toe box and getting into something that's a little less heel to toe drop. The hardest transition is the thin and flexible sole. So if this is a very new conversation to you, go with one of those functional brands because it'll be an easier transition. The difference between a functional shoe and a minimal shoe is the thin and flexible sole. And that's harder for people to get used to because, it's 14 millimeters of stack height or even less. And so that's, your foot's basically on the ground.
How different is being in one of those shoes, the ladder there, than being barefoot?
Well, if you think about the stack height of it, whenever your foot can feel the ground and there's no interference, you're going to get all of that sensory information. That's the environment. But the problem is who can walk around barefoot? I mean, we're on man-made surfaces. Many of us cannot do that. So in those thin and flexible soles, the research will say anything about 20 millimeters or below, which 20 millimeters is still pretty thick. 15, 14. It's like if you were to take out your factory insert of your shoe and stand on it, you really can feel the ground. I like that. It took me, a while to get into that, but even with patients with knee pain, that's it's so wild to me. People with knee pain are like, I must have to get a cushion shoe because that's going to be easier on my joints. I caution you, more cushion changes where those forces go. So even with my patients with knee pain, I'm like, put something thin and flexible underneath that foot. Their gait changes. Their pronation, the speed of pronation or how their foot unlocks changes. So it's a very different feel, but when you put the work in, I think people on the other end are like, wow, this does feel better, not only at my foot, but everywhere else. But it takes time.
Somebody like you that's wearing a minimal shoe, do you feel it's still important to spend a certain amount of time barefoot?
Oh yeah. I'm like again, the reason I got into this work was because of all the foot pain that I've had. So I still have a bunion. Doesn't hurt me anymore though. Nobody's touching that thing. I still have a neuroma because those don't go away. So I am the perfect example of the shoe spectrum. I try to spend as much time as I can barefoot at home. Okay, my foot's on the ground. I have my minimal footwear when I go to my office. Most of the day, I'm in my minimal footwear. Now, if I'm going to a museum in New York City and I'm going to be standing in one place where I don't have movement through my foot, that's when I move along the shoe spectrum and say, I'm going to go into my Ultra because I still have my foot in a wide toe box. I still have my low to zero drop, but I'm going to have some cushion underneath my foot because I'm standing on concrete. When I go to airports, which I'm in a lot, I love having my Ultras. It's just it helps me out a little bit. So that conversation, I think, is important of knowing when to wear what. I think the other one is that we should talk about is when we're in the gym.
Go for it. Yeah.
The strength training. Nothing drives, it's one of my biggest pet peeves when I see people trying to squat or deadlift in a Hoka, for example. Your Hoka is not a strength training shoe. That's a running shoe or a walking shoe. But when you're trying to lift heavy things, where do you get your power from? Your foot being on the ground. You have to feel your foot so you can power through your foot to use your legs. And when you're standing on something that doesn't give you that sensory perception, you're basically sending mixed signals to your knee and to your hip and to your back about where your body is, about how stable your system should be. So regardless if you are new to this functional or minimal footwear conversation, if you are a gym goer and you're strength training in the gym, please wear more minimal footwear. It's very, very important. We always get the question too, like if I'm squatting, can I wear the shoes that have the lifts in them? If you were an Olympic lifter and you're lifting 500 pounds, there's a reason those shoes exist. Most of the people that I know, though, are not Olympic lifters. So if you feel the need to squat with your heel elevated, the question I propose to you is, why is that? Is it because you have poor ankle mobility that you can't squat without it? Is it because you have poor proximal stability where you need some support in order to be able to drop down into that squat? And if so, work on those things. Because we should be able to do most things in that gym with our foot on the ground.
Since you made it to the end of this clip, I know you're going to love the full episode. Click here to watch. I'll see you over there.
The reason I got into this work was because of all the foot pain that I've had. And I'm working real hard, Jesse. I'm working real hard to get this information out there because it changes people's lives. If you go look at all the popular footwear now, it's like a pillow party.